Silly maneuvers often cause major downfalls in situations where entire careers are built on audience reception. In a desperate attempt to redeem themselves, some cause a downward spiral while others get a pass. Some thirsty solutions involve singing a whole apology song.
The only thing I've ever groomed is my 2 Persian cats. I'm not a groomer. I'm just a loser who didn't understand I shouldn't respond to fans, and I'm not a predator even though a lot of you think so.
You should have listened to the PR team. Keep in mind, this is a grown woman and she's insulting to the actual victims. Before this, Colleen Ballinger was an internet sensation when it came to family-friendly content. Colleen had her own comedy special and her audience mostly kids. Ballinger would then release a dirty children's book and get caught in the process.
How to do children. What? Babysitting tips. If you have a crying baby. Problems. Fixes. Put something in his mouth. I guess that's an oral fixation, but still. This is by far the most disgusting thing I've ever read. As you have read, babies are useless until they get older. Eventually, they will become toddlers, or as I like to call them. That's right there.
Colleen would become the most hated YouTuber in a span of 2 hours, and to top it off, a former fan of hers and close associate Adam McIntyre would upload a 25-minute video adding salt to the entire situation.
Yes, I do believe that she groomed me. I also believe she used me. In her 2020 apology video, I knew that it was all bullshit. I knew that none of it added up. I knew that she was talking behind the scenes and then saying she wasn't in the video. I knew all this. There have been a bunch of YouTubers who've looked back on the video knowing what we know now and have proven that she lied in the video and manipulated it. I actually don't fear her responding to me this time because I know that I can just highlight the point that she did this once before. In her 2020 apology, she made this big deal that she had to respond because the word grooming was going viral on Twitter. I never said that word on Twitter. Didn't even know what that word meant, by the way. But this time looking back on it, I am going to use that word. Grooming doesn't have to be she wanted me sexually. Grooming, literally the definition is like getting something off of someone and making them feel a certain way. She made me feel loved. She made me feel, secretive, like I was like one of the only fans that knew all this information, giving her all this work for free, bullying people online, harassing her ex-husband. So I would say yes.
In the video, she evidently shared how Colleen would send her private women's wear while verbally harassing him. He was only about 13 years of age when Colleen formed this weird friendship with him. Under a span of 2 weeks, she was labeled a predator, a hypocrite, and a master manipulator. After her poorly received apology, the 3 million subscriber channel averages 40,000 views a video, unlike Iraq, whose channel views are slowly getting back to default, with most relating him to Ryan Trahan. Believe it or not, there was a time where Iraq was facing cancel culture for allegedly faking a video. In his Crossing France in a Straight Line series, he was point-blank exposed, courtesy of Soggy Cereal.
Starting December 1st, I'm going to be traveling around the entire globe, uploading 30 videos in 30 days to make the most of every second that we have left. I'm going to be circling the globe over the next 30 days, ending in New York City on New Year's Eve. And if I fail, he will delete my channel. Yeah, I gave Jimmy my laptop here. He has full control.
But it's completely fake. 3 minutes into the first episode where the cracks already started to show.
There's some kind of parade happening. All the roads around here are closed down. This is not something I anticipated, but we might have to jump out.
Because this is the Dublin Services Parade, which happened on September 2nd. You can clearly see the 12th September timestamp on his watch. Maybe his watch was just malfunctioning throughout episode 3.
His response was straight up direct. As I mentioned earlier, some of them were shot prior to give us an editing head start. Fans were really convinced because the time discrepancy dated back to a whole month prior. Iraq would handle this by simply not addressing it in a video. When the series came to an end, his audience slowly found its way back to him, unlike Nas Daily, whose hypocrisy caused his downfall. It all began when he uploaded a video with a link claiming to be pioneering a company that dwells on teaching the art of traditional tattooing. While on the surface it seemed harmless, it turned out otherwise as he had scammed his way into starting the company. His first sense of exploitation was seen when he visited the oldest tattoo artist who doesn't really let you pick your own tattoos. He claimed that he had convinced Wang Od to become a teacher in his newly launched Nas Academy, a fact that was debunked immediately by Wang Od's relative who expressed her thoughts on Facebook. Nas Academy is a scam. My grandma did not sign a contract with Nas Academy. Some people are taking advantage of our culture. Please help us stop this. No one likes a culture vulture, a fact that was confirmed by the series of commentary videos on the topic. A follow-up from Nice Daily couldn't redeem his image, forcing a direct response on YouTube.
I'm going to discuss every controversy I've had on YouTube, and I'm gonna call my haters.
I'm not the one standing here pretending that I stand for all these things. There you go, the biggest hypocrite on YouTube. How are you doing, brother?
A few moments later.
We think that everybody that succeeds is evil. But if somebody succeeds on YouTube or in the world, if they become a billionaire or if they become very successful or become a politician, then automatically they're evil. From being the underdog to becoming a hero, okay?
Dude's ego is so big, he doesn't know how to apologize. Just apologize, man, it's that simple. Eventually, he was banned from Malaysia and distanced by most of his audience. He might need a rebrand to save his career, just like Ashur Spade did. He literally touched the grass and got better. The reason for his initial breakthrough can be credited to his unexpected reaction and exaggerated crash outs. It's to no surprise that his own trouser abandoned him midstream, showing his image to thousands of people. I could go through all the times he was said to be cancelled if it hadn't already been overdone. He was banned from Twitch permanently, but his reach just kept going up. When he finally shifted to YouTube, he made an unexpected rebrand, all stemming from his obsession with Ronaldo. With football being the most popular sport in the world, Ashur's reach would skyrocket, and he even made a whole song titled World Cup that got over 100 million views. To capitalize on all this momentum, he would go on a world tour where he would stream his entire experience. He became a superstar, did some WWE, interacted with fans, did some giveaways and got mobbed by friends while with a broken ankle in Norway. The incident was once again on his side. Speaking of people who have a tendency of beating cancel culture, most critical is at the forefront. When the YouTuber Ed Rocks came forward with the Eva Christensen situation is crazy, big news that it will get an intense debate with Sneako. It all started when Sneako was talking about the age of consent on his page.
To even view someone of that age as physically mature is concerning. Or like the potential to be physically mature at 15 is very concerning.
Then you think,
So, like,
by your morality, all of human history, everybody was in the 1800s in America, the age was 10. In the UK, 200 years ago, the age was 7.
10 years ago is pretty arbitrary.
Or what is it, 50 years ago,
Yeah.
or whenever the feminist movement started?
When they're marrying 10-year-old and
for thousands of years, Moise,
evolved past this.
Tell you what, for thousands of years, everybody was up until 50 years ago when the age of consent was divided.
Yeah, yep, 100%.
So everybody,
7 and 10-year-olds, yeah.
So everybody in human history was up until 10 years ago.
Yes, and also people used to eat people more often. Like, what, you're gonna go on like cannibals? Like, it's not like things were great back then. It's not like we had it all figured out back then. Yeah, there was a lot of bad.
Unbeknown to him, the controversial streamer had been fishing for a reaction with this risky choice of questioning.
And I talked about how absurd that statement was, especially given his history with fighting against the age of consent. He's been very vocal about how much he hates the age of consent, so I talked about that briefly at the end of the video, which then changed the whole narrative for a lot of people so it was a complete lose-lose, because if I didn't talk about what Sneako was saying, I would have been called a coward for not addressing it and talking about, like, well, he was going to cover for Mr. Beast until Sneako called him out.